For those who don't know me, my name is Chris, and I work in the Scottish Parliament. And it's that aspect of my life that I've been asked to share a bit of my testimony about. So, I think my interest in politics really began when I was in school, when I was studying A level politics. And I realized then, for the first time, that the only reason I could grow up in a country, Northern Ireland, that was at peace rather than at civil war was because people from very different backgrounds and very different perspectives and very different views on life and how those killings had taken place came together and for the good of everyone agreed to form a peace deal and form a government called the Good Friday Agreement, which was signed 2 years after I was born. So fascinated and inspired by this, and learning about the world and why it was the way it was really excited me. And that's why I decided to study geography and politics at university, and I had the opportunity to come here to Edinburgh to do that. Um, Now, this was at the same time as when I arrived in Edinburgh at Carrubbers, and um, I can share about becoming a Christian more fully another time if you ask me. But this was basically the time when I properly decided to follow Jesus and become a Christian. So while I was doing lots of other stuff at university as well, uh, I was able to spend 4 years understanding Scotland, the United States, Westminster, Holyrood, um, political data analysis, climate change, GIS, the history of science, and the European Union, and lots of other fascinating and amazing things about the world. I was able to uh, build up a really good knowledge and understanding of all those institutions and concepts and things at the same time as growing deeply in my knowledge and understanding of doctrine and theology and the role of Christianity within politics, and the issues that we have in the West today. And especially what most excited me was for the first time learning deeply about those great statesmen and women of the Bible, like Joseph, Esther, and Daniel. I realized over those 4 years that I could actually uh, play a part in working for the administration of part of God's kingdom here on earth. And that really excited me. The idea of being able to work in a job or in a career that was about helping people, was about helping communities to grow and to develop, helping individuals and families to flourish, and restraining the things that are wrong in this world too, like homelessness and poverty and injustices of all kinds. That really excited me. So with this conviction, I decided last year, so 2019-20, to complete a master's degree in public policy at the University of Stirling. So I moved up there. Uh, Public policy being basically understanding how governments do things at all levels. Um, uh, Studying there at Stirling at the same time as working for the Evangelical Alliance in Scotland. So in my degree, I was able to learn about policy processes, about media production and public relations and public affairs and advocacy. Um, and I was able to put what I was learning into practice simultaneously through my work with the EA, particularly helping with their advocacy work in the Scottish Parliament, which was really exciting. um, yeah, and it was especially an amazing privilege to be able to do this during the COVID-19 pandemic because during that time there had never been as much engagement between us and and churches and the Scottish government up to that point, and that was mainly because we were able to engage with them and tell them about all that churches were doing to support families and individuals with food banks and debt relief and stopping social isolation and loneliness and this kind of stuff, as well as working towards the reopening of places of worship once the lockdown restrictions were being eased. Thankful to God for those opportunities in the past year to be able to grow and develop professionally in those ways, and to kind of see what I could maybe do in the future as well. And it was then in September when I started working in the Scottish Parliament for two MSPs, and this has been brilliant so far. I've really loved it. It's kind of a mixture of supporting the MSPs in their parliamentary work. So there's certain briefs that they might have as part of their party's portfolio of issues. So like if they're, for example, if they're on a on the Health and Sport Committee or the Justice Committee, or whatever it might be, they would have like certain roles within their party to take up issues relating to those things, and take them up in the chamber and in committees and in debates and things. So I support them partly in that, and also in their casework within their constituency. So that's when people who ask the MSPs for help with certain things get in touch. I and the other staff members support the MSPs in helping them, and trying to find a solution to their difficulties. And you may have contacted your MSPs or MPs before. Usually, well, a lot of the time, when people contact their MSPs, it's because they find themselves, in really difficult circumstances, and it's almost like a last resort thing that they would do. So a lot of the time, people are in really, really difficult situations, and they are just looking for someone to help them in whatever way they can, and and that's definitely the best part of being able to work in that environment, is that you can actually make tangible change in people's lives through taking up their cases, and holding those to account who are supposed to be supporting these people. And especially during the pandemic, you can imagine that people have had all sorts of difficulties with their health in particular, and that kind of thing. So yeah, issues might be like people's housing or people's access to education or hospitals or all sorts. It really depends on where the MSP is represents, and the kind of demographics and particular issues of that geographical area. It's an incredible privilege to be able to work in this world as a Christian representing Jesus and his kingdom values, and the way that he lived in being friends with and supporting and loving those who had no voice and those who were outsiders, and those who were not favoured upon in society. And it's that way of living that I seek to emulate in my career and in all that I do in this world. I'm way over time already, sorry about that, but I'm just going to give a few recommendations for some of the biblical and Christian bases for engaging with politics. So hang on. This is just a mixture of Christian theological, cultural engagement type books, and as well several non-Christian books about the contemporary UK and Scotland, and yeah, they're all really, really helpful. In terms of prayer, I'd ask that you would pray for me that I would continue to strive to be as faithful a witness as I can in this world, and as well for the Christians who are already involved at much higher levels than I am. Those who are MSPs and those who are in the civil service and advise politicians too, and in councils. It'd be good to pray for them, as we're told to in Scripture, as they continue to grapple with all that comes with running a country during a pandemic. So thank you, and have a great rest of your Sunday.